You're listening to the JCI Santa Clarita podcast. This is episode number 7. We are joined by Michelle Lambarena, who is the Director of Leadership and Organizational Development at Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital. She's worked with organizations like UC Santa Barbara, Mervyn's, Starbucks, and UCLA. She's got a master's degree in organizational development, and she is certified in situational leadership, crucial conversations, and is a high conflict coach. Her passion is to help organizations develop and train their employees so well that they can work anywhere, but treat them so that they won't want to. Michelle, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we're actually doing an event, a training event with JCI Santa Clarita at the end of the month, and I guess we'll talk about that later. But first I wanted to talk about what you do for Henry Mayo.
Well, as a Director of Leadership and Organizational Development, very long title.
It is.
To say really that I'm there to help support all levels of the organization from frontline to executive level. I do a lot of the training and facilitate the training, create the content for leadership development. So I really am there to help support in any capacity that I possibly can. And that's just to name a few of the many things that I am so grateful that I get to do every single day.
Yeah, how many people does Henry Mayo Hospital employ?
Around 2,000.
Okay, so that's a lot of people. Do you get to work with all of them at some point?
I do.
How cool is that?
Actually, there's a few, several hundred physicians as well. So I forgot to, I think it's about 400 or 500.
Cool. Walk me through the career path. How did you get into doing this at Henry Mayo? What were the things that you did before that?
So I was actually thinking about this not too long ago and just trying to think back as to where was the point that just kind of shifted everything for me. And it was actually UC Santa Barbara, where I was a student.
Okay.
I was given the opportunity to work as a personnel assistant. And so what that means is that I was the one facilitating and doing the paperwork, just organizing all of the packets for the new hires, making sure that all of the forms were filled out correctly. And before I knew it, the leader, the supervisor at the time, saw something in me and said, "Would you be interested in running the new hire orientation?" And I said, "Yes, I would love to." And before I knew it, I was the one responsible for hiring in all of the employees. And from there on, my career path just exploded from there.
Okay, and where did you go from there, from UC Santa Barbara?
From UC Santa Barbara, I went to work for Mervyn's as an executive team leader.
I remember
So
Mervyn's.
this was, for those of you who don't know Mervyn's, this was Kohl's kind of back in the day.
Okay.
For those of people who don't know what Mervyn's
I just remember
is.
the commercial with the
Open.
open.
Right. So from there, as a very young recent graduate, had a team of 40 people, 2 departments, and I was leading people who essentially could have been my parents or grandparents. So you can just imagine the opportunities for lessons learned.
Yeah, that was actually,
that
I was just about to ask you, what are some of the lessons that you learned from these different jobs that you've held throughout your career?
Once had a leader who very much so was a toxic leader and would scream and yell point at your face in very close proximity to your face where you actually felt threatened. Yikes. And I had a moment like that happen. And it took everything in my power to not just speak back in the way that they were speaking to me. I actually kept myself cool, calm, and collected. And I said to the leader, "The way that you're speaking to me right now is completely unprofessional. And when you are ready to have an adult conversation, we can go ahead and pick this up, because the way that you are yelling at me and pointing in my face is absolutely unacceptable, and I do not deserve that." Wow. And I don't think the leader realized what they were doing, because it was a matter of seconds where you could see they just completely changed in, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing?" And so while they were towering over me because I was sitting down, they took a step back and actually sat down and said, "Okay." And they just kind of took a deep breath. And any leader that I had that was not necessarily a good example of leadership, I learned so much from, because I knew when I got the opportunity to become a leader that I would never do that.
Okay, that's a good lesson that you took from that, but it sounds like you also gave someone else a lesson, which is
I hope
kind of
so.
a
We'll
bonus.
see. That's something you would have to ask them.
Yeah.
See.
So what led you to your current job at Henry Mayo?
So I was working actually at UCLA for a little under 12 years, and I had an amazing opportunity and career there. Worked in administration, worked in academics, and then landed in health. And it had gotten to the point where I had a decision to make. Do I take the chance and look outside and go elsewhere? Or do I wait for something to come up? I was ready to take on the next thing. I know, and at the time knew, that I had way more to offer than where I was at and the opportunity that it was giving me. And the people that I met when I was interviewing, just amazing, amazing people who share the same way, same values. They want to do good. They want to help others. And I knew immediately, this is where I need to be.
So what is your why?
What is my why? My why is to help others find their greatness, because everyone has a level of greatness in them.
Okay, well, you're in a good spot then. So
Yeah.
you do. What do you do in your capacity there at Henry Mayo? You said that you do like different trainings. I know that you're doing one with us for JCI Santa Clarita. What is that training all about?
So the training for JCI is about finding your why as an individual, and the importance of being able to find that and find your rooting. And so when you are focused and you know your why, you know exactly what steps you need to take next. There's no question about it.
Is there a system for that, for finding it?
There is.
Because if you were to say, "What's your why?" I'd be like,
I don't know.
"Oh, yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
yeah."
Right. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Is we are going to we're going to go through a workshop where we're going to figure out what is your why, and then how will you be demonstrating your why, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
But yes, definitely it will be a very fun event, a workshop, and you will learn a whole lot about yourself. Finding your why is about awareness. And whether you are an influencer, a leader, no matter what title you have, if you know your why, you know exactly what to do in any given moment. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you have somebody on the phone or somebody in front of you, and they are being rude to you, right? Now, of course, a normal reaction might be you want to be rude just as the way that individual is. But if you ask yourself, how is it that I want to behave right now? And how does that align with my why? And when you ask yourself that question, well, how I really want to behave right now really does not align with my why. And therefore, I'm going to choose to not act that way. I'm going to choose to act and behave the way in which my why tells me I should.
Wow, that's a lot to consider when you're right there in the
I know,
heat of the moment.
But it's those pivotal moments that really strengthen you and define you as an individual.
Is this type of workshop common in the workplace? Are there other companies that you know of that have been successful implementing this kind of thing?
The golden circle, it really comes from, I cannot take credit for it. It comes from Simon Sinek, and it's the power of why.
That name sounds familiar.
Yes.
I feel like I've seen a TED Talk.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And how great leaders inspire action. He is a fantastic speaker. And so what I did is, when I read the book, my head was exploding with information and excitement. And I said, I have to be able to do something with this. So what I did is create a workshop or retreat or staff team meeting around it, so that individuals in the workplace can figure out their why as an individual. And then they come together with the team. And as a team, they create a why.
Okay. Now, you do trainings like this, not just for Henry Mayo, but do you do them privately for other businesses?
I do.
Okay, and you're doing this for us. Why are you doing that?
Why am I doing it? Because I believe that it's important to share the talents that we have, right? Silver and gold I do not have, but what I have I give to you. And that is exactly what I believe in. And so what I have, I want to share with everyone and anyone who's willing to listen. And I'm happy to be doing this for JCI because I think it's such an important thing, especially for new upcoming leaders in Santa Clarita Valley. And even students. I heard that we might have students joining us.
Well, we had a lot at the last event.
And
so.
think about as a student, if I would have known my why when I was in school, where I would be now, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that a lot of the things that we're learning now, it's like,
why didn't I know that?
Yeah, how helpful would that have been 20 years ago?
That's why I'm doing it.
Cool. Okay, well, let's get the details out about this event. It's going to be on March 31st.
Yes.
Where?
At the Henry Mayo Fitness and Health from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay, so not at the hospital.
Not at the hospital.
Henry Mayo Fitness and Health, that's
Yes.
by the Hyatt.
Yes.
From 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., March 31st.
Yes, join us. It's going to be a great time.
Well, I'm going to sign up.
Please
and
do.
I'm looking forward to it.
Great.
Cool. All right, well, Michelle Lambarena, thank you so much for joining on this podcast. This is episode number 7, JCI Santa Clarita. We'll see you guys soon.